Hi Mountain View, my name is Lucy Mason and I am the junior counselor. Junior year is when you start taking your dreams of a career in college and making them a reality. This is a fun year because you get to explore all of your different options for your future, starting with your junior meeting. After viewing this video, please go to the counseling website and schedule your junior conference with your parents. Please try to schedule around your academic classes. In your junior meeting, we will review your credits, classes for your senior year, and your post-secondary options. Today in this video, I will go over some class choices that you could think about for your senior year and what you really need to be focusing on right now to prepare for your future. Let's first start off with your classes. I hate to break it to you juniors, but colleges do still look at rigor and they still want you to challenge yourself your senior years. Class choices here at Mountain View include AP, Honors, and CP level courses. Other class options can include Move On When Ready, on or off campus, Work Study, Maxwell, and Grayson. If any of these are interested to you, I encourage you to do more research and explore. You can find out more about Maxwell and Grayson from their websites. You can see Ms. Barrett about Work Study, and Move On When Ready, that would be myself. Let's talk a little bit now about the DEN calendar. It is never too early to start looking at different colleges. Some things to consider when looking at colleges include what you may want to major in, if you want to stay in Georgia, if you want to go to a school in a city or out in the country, or if you want to go to a small or big university. Those are just to name a few of the factors that you would consider with college. Junior year, you want to start off with a list of 5 to 10 colleges, and you can start doing some college visits to help narrow down that list. It is crucial that you do these college visits because sometimes you do not know if you want to attend a university until you're actually on the campus. You have 2 excused college visits absences a year. You would go see attendance and they will give you a form that your teachers will sign off on, and that will give you your excused absence. Then you can call the college admission department and set up your college visits. Another way to explore colleges is through our DEN visits. We set up colleges to actually come here to Mountain View during lunch period and then sometimes small group visits. Those visits could be during 7th period, they could be during 2nd period, but the only way you're really going to know when these visits are is to check the DEN calendar. Also on the DEN calendar, you will see probe and college fairs. This is another great way to start exploring your college options. Mountain View High School will actually be having their college and career fair, financial aid night, and Move On When Ready dual enrollment night on November 10th. So that is a wonderful option for you to start getting a head start on this. There's also, some of these fairs also include several colleges. They're set up in booths. So if you go to a probe fair, you'll have several booths set up. And this is a great way to meet your college admission representatives and to ask certain questions about that college. Now, DEN calendar. On the DEN calendar also, in addition to college visits and probe fairs, you can also find scholarships. You can get to the DEN calendar by going to the MVHS website, clicking on counseling, and then the calendar pops up first thing. Also on the calendar is scholarships and also parent nights. And to find out more about scholarships, you would just click on the scholarship link. It is never too early to start looking for scholarships. And all the scholarships that come through the counseling department, we actually post on the DEN calendar. Another place to look on the, for scholarships is when you're on the DEN calendar to click on college, career, and scholarships, and that will take you to the top scholarship search links. So that is another way that you could start looking at scholarships. For scholarships, I would suggest that you keep a journal or an Excel spreadsheet naming what the scholarship is, the due date, and what's required for a scholarship. Scholarships could be from writing an essay, creating a pamphlet, creating a video. It just all depends on the scholarship. And yes, you can get a scholarship for being below 5'4" or having red hair. You just have to find where that scholarship is. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about what colleges are looking for. So when you start applying to college, the first thing that a college looks at is your GPA. So it is super important your junior year to keep that GPA up and to keep working in your classes. There is a difference between a cumulative GPA and a HOPE GPA. Your cumulative GPA is what is found on your transcript, and your HOPE GPA is what's found on Georgia Futures. Your HOPE GPA only takes into account your core classes, and this is also what tells you about HOPE if you're going to have Hope Scholarship or Zell Miller Scholarship, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. The other piece of criteria that colleges look at is your SAT and your ACT scores. The standardized testing scores is the second thing that colleges usually consider when they're looking at admissions. And then the third thing is, guess what? Your rigor of courses. So it is super important, like I said, to keep up that rigor and keep challenging yourself your senior year and not just take 6 periods of team sports, because a college will see that. Other things that colleges consider that are important is community service, clubs and sports, and leadership. So if you're not involved in any of this, now is the time to start getting involved. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean your senior year that you join 20 clubs. Colleges want to see that you make commitments to clubs and want to see you grow within those clubs. Community service, it's just a very good thing to be able to talk about on college scholarships applications as well as essays. Now, talking about SAT and ACT. If you are in accelerated math, and meaning that you've already covered Algebra 2 and probably accelerated geometry, you can start studying and looking to take the SAT or the ACT now. If you are currently in Algebra 2, I would advise that you start studying now, but look to take the test in the spring. That is because the SAT does have some Algebra 2 in it. Then if you take it in the spring, it'll give you the opportunity to look at your scores, study again, take one in the summer, and then one more in the fall before college application deadlines come around. Now, college application deadlines, there is early admission deadlines, which is usually around October 15th. Then there is also regular deadlines, which can range from November to January, or you can even see what's called rolling deadlines, which means that colleges would review your application as it comes in. I would not recommend that you take the SAT or the ACT more than 3 times, because actually after the 3rd time, your score starts to drop. Now, I get this question a lot, but most colleges do take both the ACT or the SAT. They are a little bit different, meaning that SAT is through College Board, ACT is through actstudent.org. And you can find a list of these in the counseling office, these dates when these tests are offered. But SAT has a little bit more math on it. ACT has a little bit of science on it. So it just depends. And then if you're not really sure, just go ahead and take both, see which one you excel at, and then focus on that one. If you are on free and reduced lunch, you can actually receive an SAT or an ACT waiver. To receive this waiver, you would see Ms. Como, who's our counseling secretary, at the front, and she would be able to look up that information and give it to you. If you're not sure if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, even if you don't eat lunch, go ahead and apply online at Mountain View High School's cafeteria, and they'll be able to determine if you qualify for free and reduced lunch. Now, some study materials that you can use for the SAT and ACT, because I get that question a lot too. There is tutoring centers where they have programs and classes where you can learn how to take the SAT or the ACT. There is also the old school books. They still sell those. I always suggest for students to check in their library or use bookstores first, because those can be costly. But then my favorite part is actually College Board and actstudent.org have plenty of online resources to help you study, including practice tests, games, apps, questions of the day. And so those are just a few different ways that you can explore and study for your SAT or ACT. Now, it's very important that when you do register for your SAT or ACT that you go ahead and select 4 colleges to receive your scores. If you don't do this at the time of registration, it's $12 each to send them later. But if you do it at registration, the colleges will receive your scores, and it's free. Now, if you decide not to go to that college, it's not a big deal. Trust me, these colleges do not have time to be looking at standardized test scores for a student who's not applying. Also, a lot of colleges do what's called super scoring, and that means that they'll take the best scores that you receive, say, in the SAT, say you have a high verbal 1 and then have a high math on the other. They'll take both those scores and combine them. Now, another great resource that you'll hear me talk a lot about is Georgia Futures. Now, I get the question a lot, how do I find my HOPE GPA? This is where I refer parents and students to. If you do not already have an account with Georgia Futures, go ahead and set up an account with the student's email. A lot of time parents will set up an account for the student and then the student can't get in. So students should set this up. And once they set this up, as long as they put Mountain View High School and their social security number in there, they'll be able to obtain what their HOPE GPA is. Now, for HOPE, to receive HOPE, you have to have a 3.0. That means it will pay for 90% of your tuition to any in-state public Georgia school. Zell Miller is 3.7, as well as a 1200 on the SAT and or a 26 on the ACT. That is 100% of your tuition to any in-state Georgia public school. Other things you'll find on Georgia Futures is that it'll show you some in-state applications, and you can actually apply to some of these schools from Georgia Futures. Other things are career assessments. So if you're needing a career assessment, there's some really good ones on Georgia Futures that can help you with determining a career or a college major and then starting to explore some of those colleges that offer that. Another website is College Board. I know a lot of people think about this just for SAT, but they actually have a great database for searching for schools and looking at majors, as well as they also have some career and interest inventories. Well, I hope that you find this information helpful and helps to get you started on your journey. Please remember to go back to the counseling website and make an appointment for your junior conference. This is when we will discuss your individual plans. I look forward to seeing you soon, and happy exploring.